Preserving our freedom.
The U.S. Capitol tonight after a day of anxiety and anger. Anthrax, an unprecedented shutdown of the House of Representatives, more than 30 Capitol aides testing positive for exposure to the deadly bacteria. NBC's Terrorism Task Force on the key questions. Where did the anthrax come from? What kind is it? What next? The war. More airstrikes in Afghanistan, wearing down the Taliban, targeting its leaders. The American economy, with thousands looking for jobs after the attacks. How long will the slide go on? Answers tonight. And the human touch, one Afghan boy's struggle for survival and his dream, a life without fear.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. As you might expect, it is chaotic on Capitol Hill tonight, where 31 Senate workers have tested positive for exposure to anthrax. And we now have heard from the CDC late tonight that preliminary tests show that anthrax sent to our office here at NBC and the Florida anthrax are the same strain. At the same time, 500 NBC News employees did get some encouraging news today on their anthrax test. We'll start with a big congressional story, and NBC's Lisa Myers begins our coverage tonight. Lisa?
Tom, just when you think the level of anxiety here can't possibly get any worse, it does. Tonight, the House is evacuating all its offices for 5 days. The Senate is closing down most of its offices to sweep for any further evidence of anthrax. Still, congressional leaders insist there is no cause for panic.
Hundreds and hundreds of staffers line up to be tested this morning with news that 31 staffers have been exposed to anthrax. 23 members of Senator Daschle's staff, 3 in the office of Senator Russ Feingold, which is next door, and 5 Capitol Police. None has contracted any infection.
All of those who have had this positive nasal swab have been on antibiotics now for some time. And the good news is that everyone will be okay.
Officials say there is no sign any of the anthrax spread beyond Daschle's office and a Senate mailroom.
That's pretty scary when you consider, I think, one letter could lead to that kind of, can lead to all of this.
And in New York, Governor George Pataki reports that a preliminary field test found anthrax in a confined area of his office.
They are investigating, along with the FBI, all possible sources of the exposure.
Also in New York, NBC Chairman and CEO Bob Wright has the good news about those 500 NBC News employees testing negative.
It's been a very difficult ordeal, but today is a pleasant announcement, and nobody's happier than I am.
Back at the Capitol, the anthrax attack fuels a profound sense of vulnerability. Many members of Congress firmly believe that hijacked plane that crashed in Pennsylvania was headed here. Some staffers are having a hard time doing their work.
People feeling uncomfortable, just nervous, anxious.
You wake up thinking, what's going to happen today?
Though no anthrax has been found on the House side, the Speaker announces all House members and staff will go home until Tuesday so offices can be swept.
Right now, we're just taking the precaution and making sure, because we know that mail has come into the Capitol that is tainted.
The Senate will be in session tomorrow, which means the Capitol building itself will not be totally closed down. And Tom, there is late word tonight from New York. Officials there say traces of anthrax were found in an air ventilation filter at NBC headquarters, and plans are underway now for the cleanup. Tom?
Thank you very much, NBC's Lisa Myers tonight. There will be a considerable restoration work required on the 3rd floor of NBC News. But now the latest on the investigation and who might be responsible for this and what kind of anthrax, in fact, it is. Pete Williams of NBC's Terrorism Task Force joins me tonight from Washington. Pete?
Tom, good evening. Word tonight that the strains or biological types of anthrax in letters sent to NBC and the Miami newspaper publisher match, but too soon to tell if they match the types sent in the letters to the Senate. While waiting for final results, investigators know this much about the Senate anthrax tonight. It's a relatively pure form, not diluted with other bacteria or other chemical agents, suggesting it was carefully gathered.
There's been some
attempt to collect it, perhaps refine it, and make it more concentrated. That seems to be certain.
Second, and most reassuring, it's not resistant to conventional antibiotics, meaning it can be easily treated with readily available drugs.
This particular strain of anthrax is sensitive to all antibiotics, penicillin all the way through ciprofloxacin. It's a very sensitive strain.
And the type of anthrax, medical experts say, is naturally occurring, not something designed in a laboratory.
It's common variety from all our testing at this point in time.
But what most concerns investigators is the form it was in. Preliminary analysis shows at least some of it was an extremely fine powder, potentially capable of hanging in the air for long periods. Federal bioterrorism experts say that means at the very least this anthrax was prepared by an expert, because making it that fine is very difficult. One Senate official says some of the actual particles measure 1 to 2 microns, or 25 thousandths of an inch. That's within the range of 1 to 5 microns considered ideal for making a biological weapon. Experts say weapons makers strive for particles that small.
And these particles are neutrally buoyant. That means they will float in the air for long periods, and they can also be inhaled and will lodge deep in the lungs.
So where did it come from? Bioterrorism experts say the anthrax sent to the Senate could have been provided by a foreign military, or stolen from one, or even made in the U.S. in a small lab by an accomplished microbiologist. Senior officials tell NBC News they don't expect to get any DNA from that letter sent to the Senate. It had a pre-printed stamp on it, and the flap wasn't licked to seal it. And investigators are checking hospitals in New Jersey to see if that person who mailed the letters from Trenton accidentally got a dose of anthrax. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Pete Williams tonight. All of this has raised serious questions about America's capacity to conduct large-scale and reliable tests for anthrax and other bioterror weapons. It's also raised questions about what could be next. NBC's chief science correspondent Robert Mazzell tonight.
It is an age-old disease, but few public health officials have experience with anthrax. There are several tests for the bacteria, some fast and not so accurate, others slower and more reliable. But even with a flood of tests and confusion about the results, experts say officials are doing an excellent job. So far, 1 death and only a handful of people with symptoms.
From this day forward, if we handle this situation calmly, we put into practice the protocols we've developed, there is no need for another U.S. citizen to get sick with anthrax.
But what if terrorists could do more than send contaminated letters? What if they could spread anthrax over a wide area, or get large amounts into the air conditioning systems of big buildings?
We would have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of cases. That would provide us with an emergency that we just cannot comprehend.
To prepare for that horrible possibility, officials are stockpiling large quantities of antibiotics, conducting drills with medical and emergency personnel. Another big fear, as Homeland Security Director Tom Ridge told Tom Brokaw last night, it is smallpox, wiped off the earth in 1979, but samples of the virus believed to have disappeared from the former Soviet Union. Because vaccinations were stopped long ago, no one is immune. And unlike anthrax, it is highly contagious.
If you have 100 smallpox cases and they're not recognized immediately, then you have probably a pandemic of smallpox on your hands.
The only defense? To vaccinate as many people as possible. But the U.S. has only 15 million doses.
The government is now conducting tests showing that those doses can be diluted to protect 5 to 10 times as many people in an emergency, and gearing up to manufacture millions more doses. Accelerated preparations for a bioterrorist threat many thought the U.S. would never face. Robert Mazzell, NBC News, New York.
Now let's go to NBC's national correspondent Jim Avila reporting on the not-so-distant future of detecting these diseases.
A search and destroy mission in America's laboratories. The nation's scientists looking for a faster, mobile, less expensive way to detect anthrax and other biochemical threats. Under development today, on the market in 6 months to 3 years, a new generation of computer chips that can recognize anthrax DNA, microwave-sized poison detectors that deliver test results on site in 30 minutes. And this anthrax seeker at Georgia Tech, small enough to connect to a handheld computer.
You want it to be small, handheld, battery-operated, portable.
Today's local hazardous material teams respond to calls of bioterrorism protected in full-length plastic suits. but most have no way to quickly detect and analyze the threat. Instead, they send samples to labs, which can take days to return results.
The disease can develop fairly rapidly, anthrax or other things, within a few days. So the lab tests may arrive too late to warn people.
The military has small on-site detectors, 10 National Guard units on high alert nationwide. Now the federal government is encouraging labs once working only on military projects to shift focus to commercial detectors, small enough to be used like smoke alarms in subways, public buildings, even street corners. Outside Chicago, scientists at Argonne National Laboratory are developing an inexpensive unit the size of a shoebox.
What we have here is a laboratory in a box. This little device over here eventually will place a room about this size filled with technicians.
And once the biochemical poison is found, another new invention can destroy it.
It will let an emergency team walk into an area, quickly spray a contaminated area, and destroy any toxin that's present.
Toxins America's scientists are racing to detect with a new, affordable generation of anthrax killers. Jim Avila, NBC News, Atlanta.
In the war, the airstrikes in Afghanistan were even more fierce today, but the other half of the battle, saving the starving refugees, has just suffered a major setback. We have NBC Jim Miklashevsky tonight, once again from the Pentagon.
In Kabul today, a direct hit on a fuel dump as the U.S. turns up the heat on the Taliban. And there was even more firepower today. A third aircraft carrier, Teddy Roosevelt, and a dozen Air Force F-15s take part in the strikes. In a shift in strategy, American warplanes are now taking dead aim at Taliban troops themselves, like these strikes yesterday on a Taliban barracks and a campsite outside Kandahar. As airstrikes intensified over the past few days, it's flushed more Taliban troops into the open, making them even easier targets.
We are now forcing the targets out to be able to attack that we might not have had as much access to before.
U.S. officials also tell NBC News the Pentagon wants to wrap up the widespread bombing campaign by mid-November. That's also the beginning of Ramadan, a month-long Muslim religious holiday. But the Pentagon is also fighting a public relations war. The Taliban claims the airstrikes have prevented the delivery of food aid to Afghan refugees. But the U.S. military continues to airdrop emergency food rations, 400,000 so far. And it was the Taliban today that seized 2 United Nations warehouses filled with wheat.
It is the Taliban that has made life very, very difficult for the Afghan people, and that's what we're trying to correct.
But the U.S. is already looking beyond Afghanistan. Sources tell NBC News that military planners are already drawing up a list of potential targets, terrorist camps in Somalia. And tonight, the Pentagon sent out orders to all its major military commanders to get their attack plans ready to go after terrorist camps of Osama bin Laden's networks in other countries around the world. Tom?
Thanks very much, NBC's Jim Miklashevsky at the Pentagon again tonight. Whatever hopes the United States has about peace in the Middle East are a good deal dimmer tonight. Israel's tourism minister was assassinated today by Palestinian militants. Revenge, they say, for Israel's recent murder of one of their leaders. The fear now that this cycle of revenge will only escalate in that part of the world. Still ahead tonight, inside Afghanistan, children who've known nothing but war, hunger, and misery. One boy's sad story.
By the time they reach 40, something like 40% will already have visibly thinning hair, which wouldn't be such a big deal.
Except we're women. 30 million of us.
With hereditary hair loss.
Shocked? So were we.
Helpless? No, we're not.
Because now we know there's Rogaine. Rogaine is stronger than heredity.
Rogaine can help us keep the hair we've got.
Rogaine can regrow the hair we've lost.
So when you realize the hair on the bathroom floor isn't your husband's, remember.
There's hope, there's help, there's Rogaine.
When my arthritis started choosing the notes, I thought my jazz days were over. But my doctor said keep moving with Advil. It's strong enough to let me control the pain. That's me playing again.
Take Advil and take control. C. Move. Beat. The future of vitamin C is here. Ester C, a patented non-acidic vitamin C that supports your immune system and the health of your eyes, joints, and cardiovascular system. Don't settle for less. Ester C, your body will know the difference.
Alert! You have reached the end of the internet. You have seen everything there is to see. Please go back. Now.
Introducing DirecTV DSL. So fast, you'll see more of the internet than ever before. Now get 3 months for $19.99 per month. Call 1-800-BEST-DSL.
I thought you were surfing the internet.
Yeah, I finished it.
Tired of struggling down glass after glass of powdered fiber for regularity? Consider refreshing glasses of water with FiberCon tablets. A whole lot easier to take.
And every bit as effective as powder.
FiberCon, refreshingly easier to take.
This weekend, Enterprise Rent-A-Car announces special low rates from just $9.99 a day. Friday till Monday from just $9.99 a day. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
1-800-RENT-A-CAR.
These uncertain times were reflected in dramatic fashion on Wall Street today. An early rally and some good earnings news went down the drain as those anthrax fears spread on Capitol Hill. The Dow, which had been up more than 100 points, finished down more than 151 points. NASDAQ was down almost 76 points. That's 4% of its value. NBC's Ann Thompson tonight, the latest on the troubled American economy.
New Yorkers on edge about anthrax and the economy. 10,000 line up outside Madison Square Garden for the Twin Towers Job Expo. An eclectic mix, people on all rungs of the economic ladder. Today, looking for work.
I am looking for an admin position.
25-year-old Nicole Singleton lost her job at the New York Mercantile Exchange last week.
I was let go due to the World Trade Center disaster.
Today, trying to talk to recruiters from 200 companies. The single mother now living on her dwindling savings.
Rent stares me in the face every month. My phone bill every month, just my monthly bills.
How long will it take for the battered economy to recover, and how severe is the damage? Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan tells Congress he still does not know.
As the initial shock began to wear off, economic activity recovered somewhat from the depressed levels that immediately followed the attacks, though the recovery has been uneven.
Greenspan stressed the prospects for recovery remain strong for the long run, but today more signs of short-term troubles. Sprint cutting 7% of its workforce, 6,000 employees. Auto parts manufacturer Dana Corporation cutting another 11,000 jobs as orders from car makers dry up. TRW also trimming 2,400 jobs from its automotive division.
I think this downturn is going to be deeper than people had expected, and I think the returns and the recovery will be a bit more sluggish.
Even brokerage giant Merrill Lynch planning cutbacks. The Wall Street Journal reporting up to 10,000 jobs may go. Since September 11th, over 20,000 New Yorkers have filed jobless claims, blaming the terror attacks. In all, economists estimate the city will lose 100,000 jobs. But all Nicole Singleton wants to do is find one. And today, that didn't happen.
At least I know of companies that are hiring.
Optimism in an economy still marked by widespread uncertainty. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
Next, how safe? We'll take another close look at airport security. You might be surprised by what we found out.
How can you provide for the future of the people who depend on you? With the power of Pacific Life. For over 130 years, Pacific Life has improved the lives of millions with investments, annuities, and insurance. Because careful planning today can help them reach their dreams tomorrow. Discover the power of Pacific Life.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
Should have used Preparation H.
Preparation H medicated wipes with aloe, the easy way to cleanse, cool, and soothe. Easier because they're 4 times bigger than Tux pads. Preparation H medicated wipes, big relief.
Saved by zero. Saved by zero.
Get 0% financing for 36 months on new Corollas, 4Runners, and Tundras for a limited time only.
Saved by zero.
Life is like a sport. The impact of each step impacts more than just your feet. But new Stride Guard insoles absorb 50% more heel impact than these Dr. Scholl's. Take more impact in stride. New Stride Guard insoles.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Tomorrow, the man behind America's relentless attack on Afghanistan. He wasn't always Top Gun. Up close and personal with Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. Tomorrow on Today.
As Congress fights over the best way to improve airport security in this country, a new investigation by the Department of Transportation finds problems at America's major airports even after last month's hijackings. Here's NBC's aviation expert, Robert Hager.
A new government sweep of airports, underway only a few days, already finds some screeners still working with criminal records, others foreign nationals without green cards, makes background checks nearly impossible. And when one group was quizzed about basic screening techniques, 35% flunked. As a part of the sweep here at Washington's Dulles Airport, investigators watched astounded as a passenger turned away because he had a pocket knife, slipped back through security unstopped with the knife in his shoe. They arrested him. And there are gaping holes in screening equipment, too. Metal detectors, by definition, would miss plastic weapons. More sensitive detectors are used at the White House, the U.S. Capitol, and political conventions, but not at airports because of worries the body images are too revealing. As for scanning checked luggage, the government ordered 160 high-tech machines at more than $1 million each, but 19 still sit idle in warehouses, and the rest, which are at airports, are underused because airlines say they're slow, and too often the alarm meant to signal explosives is set off by harmless clothing. A nuisance for operators, says Pentagon expert John O'Brien.
The false alarm rate is so high. As a result of that, they get numb, I think, to the problem of a real one. And I think that's really one of the major issues that we face today is this unreasonably high false alarm rate.
Such a problem. Some say that before September 11th, only 1 bag in 10,000 was being scanned. Meantime, in a test at Kennedy Airport last November, when C4 plastic explosive, detonator cord, and Semtex were placed in bags, 3 different types of new scanners at the airport missed them all. Today, FAA Chief Jane Garvey says the agency's pushing for improvements.
More direct management, more direct control of the screening activities. That's critical, that's essential, and moving quickly.
The goal, to reliably search every person, bag, and airport worker. But that's still years away. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
I'll be right back. The children of Afghanistan, the search for hope while the bombs continue to fall.
Oh, the things we endure for beauty. Being lathered in hot, molten metal. Buffed until raw. Inspected over 100 times. But that's what it takes to be a Delta faucet. Every Delta is carefully crafted and meticulously refined to be beautiful inside and out. Isn't it worth it? Delta. Beautifully engineered.
See who will be the first man to put his name on the Charles Schwab Cup, only on CNBC.
Now, the same Caltrate that helps fight bone loss may help your colon, too. In a recent study, Caltrate helped reduce the risk of recurrence of colon polyps, a risk factor for colon cancer. The same Caltrate you take for your bones, now for colon health, too.
I quit. Feeling lethargic.
I quit. Feeling bloated again and again.
It's time to quit. Quit the cycle of irregularity with Metamucil Daily Fiber Therapy. With Metamucil, you don't just get regular, you stay regular. Day after day, week after week.
I didn't just quit. I quit for good.
And you can, too.
Metamucil Daily Fiber Therapy. Get regular, stay regular.
From the front lines in Afghanistan to the search for answers at home, from events in our nation's capital to the impact on the Northwest. Together with the resources of NBC News and KGW.com, your source for continuing coverage of America Strikes Back. Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
Buy a brand new Daewoo at Bruce Chevrolet Daewoo as low as $94.75. That's Bruce Chevrolet Daewoo in Hillsboro.
Mom, how many Tums did you take right in front of the wedding planner?
You snuck one too.
It was a Pepsid Complete.
Is that the same as Pepsid AC?
No, there's nothing else like Pepsid Complete. It works fast like Tums, but it lasts for hours like Pepsid AC. So your heartburn goes away and then stays away.
Chewable? Calcium? I gotta try this.
Decision?
Tony, fabulous.
Pepsid Complete. Just one, and heartburn's done. Have you tried the anchovy cookies?
Oh, yeah.
And the jalapeno dip?
From the front lines in Afghanistan to the search for answers at home, from events in our nation's capital to the impact on the Northwest. Together with the resources of NBC News and KGW.com, your source for continuing coverage of America Strikes Back. Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
Understandably, there's a lot of concern about what kind of world American children will grow up in now. The future is hard to know, but if you'd like some perspective, consider the world of a child in Afghanistan. Tonight, NBC's Tom Aspel has one boy's story from an area controlled by the Northern Alliance.
In the mountains of the Hindu Kush, there's an Afghan boy who's never seen a movie or tasted ice cream, never heard of Mickey Mouse, or had one single toy. But there is something he knows well.
My people in Afghanistan are miserable from the war.
His name is Wasi. At 13, he's lucky, because in Afghanistan, 1 child in 4 dies before age 5. Life here is defined by poverty and war. The school bell, an old Russian artillery shell, bullet holes in the walls, a pen and exercise book shared with other boys. Yet Wasi has big dreams.
I want to become a doctor, to become an engineer.
For now, his father is teaching him to work the farm because his family of 17 will depend on its 10 thin acres and 2 cows to feed them through the coming winter.
Besides going to school, with all my work, I never have any playtime.
No time, he tells us, for basketball, soccer, or volleyball, his favorite sports. Instead, he carries water 3 times a day to the women of the house. His mother, sisters, and the wives of his brothers. They scold Wasi to wash his hands, behave himself, eat properly, just like an American boy. And these days, something else is the same.
We talk of war. We talk about being uneasy and things like that.
At night, when the men of the village eat and talk of war and winter, Wasi listens. And before he sleeps, he's scared. For just one night, he'd like to fall asleep feeling safe. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Dodanbi Village, Afghanistan.
That's Nightly News for Wednesday. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow.
Concerned for my staff. I'm angered that this has happened.
The anthrax scare spreads. On Capitol Hill, more cases of exposure and long lines of worried workers waiting to be tested. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden and his office staff may be at risk. Plus,
PDX's most beautiful feature could also be its most vulnerable. Our special investigation continues.
From KGW,
where the news comes first. This is a Northwest News Channel 8 at 6, special edition. America Strikes Back.
Hello, I'm Tracy Berry.
And I'm Joe Donlin. A letter